Thanks everybody for joining us today. All right, let's get us started. What just happened? Well, it's been 6 months now and it feels like a lifetime, but it's not enough for us to transition from what we had back in 2017 and backwards to this new reality and new workspace. And it impacts us, it impacts HR. So we want to see how do we turn this challenge. I don't want to call it a disaster. It's a challenge. It's a very big challenge. It's probably the biggest societal and psychological test we've been through as modern humans. But how do we turn that into an opportunity and try and move ourselves successfully from this situation to the post-pandemic era? A change is needed. There is no doubt about that. Across the world, a change is happening and is needed, and it can boil it down to our companies, to our departments, down to our families. And what we see from McKinsey's research is that it's going to take some time for us to recover back to where we were in 2019. This is probably a bit small. You can zoom it in, but this diagram, this graph shows what we're expecting in terms of recovery of different industries. I was looking at the poll results, and I think all of you fall in one or two of these categories. So if you look at the dot on the left side in each line, the white dot shows if we find a vaccine that is widely successful and accepted, we're looking at recovery between 2021 to 2024 in a lot of industries. Of course, hospitality, food and beverage, the businesses that deal with people, it takes longer time for them to recover. If we do not find a viable vaccine, this stretches for another 2 to 3 years up until 2025. So we have to deal with it. This is our reality. This is the world we live in right now. So what do we do? Coming back to the essence of business, it's about your people. And because people are the most important part of our businesses, they are the mostly disrupted area. A lot of things have changed. We have people who work from home, people who are back to work, and there's a lot of impact. And it impacts our workplace, our workforce, and also the productivity levels and efficiency. So again, people at the center of everything. Now, today, I can see in our region at least, especially in the UAE and a couple of other countries in the Middle East and Africa, we have countries who are opening up or have opened up. So the workforce is divided between working from home or back to work. The ones who are still working from home, the challenges are showing themselves more and more, because it gets boring, the productivity levels are impacted, there's fluctuating levels of productivity and employee experience and employee happiness. The ones who are back to work, okay, there's a level of excitement because we're going back to our routine, but at the same time, there's a lot of safety concerns. And of course, half of our team may not be in the office, productivity is impacted, and all of that. So the role of HR to keep this together is quite important. How do we connect back the workforce that is now distributed or scattered across these two scenarios, and make sure that everybody feels safe as well as being as productive as possible. In some scenarios, it might not be possible to be as productive as how we were a year ago, but we have to really go through this journey and make sure that everybody's happy. The company is, becoming more and more successful, and also the employees are happy. So HR, looking at two areas, the key business functions, and this is interesting. It's no more about just hiring, onboarding, offboarding people. It's about coming to the decision-making table, sitting with the heads of sales and marketing, the decision makers, the CEO, the finance department, and understand what are the key business functions, which are the critical functions that we cannot let go of in terms of operations. What are the operations that need people to go back to work or versus work from home? Every other department needs more support from HR because nobody knows the people as well as the HR. in terms of roles and activities and skill set, juggling things around, making sure that if we lack in resources, can we have delegations done better? Can we have people work other duties and fill in for the colleagues who cannot attend work? If downsizing has happened, what are the implications of those on people, roles, and activities? Do we have the right skill set for the future? Now, one example, we've moved from face-to-face meetings almost exclusively to anybody who has been through the lockdown or is still going through the lockdown to exclusively virtual meetings. Now, do we have the skill set in terms of technical expertise, technical skills, not expertise, to be honest, and also the softer skills? It's really harder to talk to a monitor and a camera and keep your focus while your kids are, shouting in the background. So how do we make sure that these things work together and we get the results we want? Gartner came up with 10 questions for the HR to ask themselves and the organization to see if they are prepared and if they can, with confidence, tell the rest of the departments, the employees, the stakeholders, the shareholders, that if the organization is prepared for the future that is now. I'll take you through these 10 questions, and most of them will sound familiar to you. You might be asking these questions to yourself, but if you have not, I would encourage you to start with these questions, even develop on those. Quickly, can your company operate with 20% or greater absenteeism? If 75% of your employees are not available to work for any reason, are we ready to actually still move forward? If illness causes absenteeism, are they cross-trained employees? Can we fill in for each other? Can the employees work remotely? This might sound obvious to a lot of people, but a lot of jobs, it's impossible to work remotely. So how do we still stay in business and deliver value to the customers? What infrastructure support is needed to support the shift from in office to at home work? Is it just an internet connection and a webcam, or do we need to rethink our processes? Will our company monitor or even restrict travel to high-risk regions? It's usually yes. We've done it in Zoho back in March. All international travels were halted. Low risk, high risk, we didn't care. We just wanted the employees to be healthy and safe. Another set of questions: what are the procedures in place to decontaminate what is becoming contaminated in the office environment? A friend of us, of me actually, he had to shut down his operation for 15 days because one person tested positive for COVID, and office was very important in his in his day-to-day operation, and they had to shut down the office. So we have to see what kind of processes are in place for that. What are the assurances do we need to provide to the facility staff, people who cannot work from home, so they feel safe at work? There's the safety of the individual and the fact that they're risking the safety of their families. This takes a big toll on anybody's mental health as well. How will traveling employees be brought home, especially if they're sick? And this has happened a lot of times. People contract virus outside the country, and then they get stuck, and so on and so forth. So escalation process, procedures for additional resources, if need be, trained representatives for crisis management, on-call staff, and the expectations from them. In a lot of bigger offices and bigger organizations, there is fire drills and education about fire, and there are fire wardens on every floor. But now we might actually probably expand that into a pandemic scenario, especially if we have a lot of staff members. So if we can ask these questions to ourselves and have acceptable answers, we can say with confidence that we are ready to move on, and we can ensure that our employees and the rest of the stakeholders are confident in the operation. And this falls under the HR in conjunction with the rest of the departments. Coming back to the basics, to the essentials, the physical and mental safety of our employees has been always important, but this is now even more important. Inclusiveness, dealing with people without any prejudice, without any biases. This has happened before. Some of it, came out in the news. So we have to be even more diligent about dealing with people. Give them the freedom of choice, if it at all possible. If they want to take a leave, if you can afford it. If they want to work from home or come back to the office, considering the procedures. So let them feel included and let them feel safer. Addressing worries and fears. This is the biggest enemy of human mind, a fear of your safety, your family's safety, safety of your job. Am I going to lose my job? Do I have to do double the work for reasons? Let's not keep anything opaque and be transparent with the employees, and definitely the results will be positive. This is quite an experience. And all of this contributes to an improved employee experience, which is super important nowadays, even more than before. And HR is the glue to keep all of that together. The sales department, the IT department, the marketing department might not have full visibility, and the priorities might be other things. IT is now dealing with a lot of other new challenges. Information is scattered, cybersecurity is impacted, all of these. So us as HR departments, we need to help departments like IT to also include people when they're making decisions. Focusing on process. This is another great opportunity for us. It's not business as usual. We're going through disruption. There are opportunities to get into our processes and change them. Are we COVID ready yet? Compliance is even more important now. So take this as an opportunity and review everything as quickly as possible to make sure that there are changes made. And nowadays, people are more ready to accept change because all of us are out of our comfort zone. So we just want to move on. We just probably want to hang on anything, any kind of change, any kind of improvement to make sure we're coming together for a common goal. So this is probably the best time to reconsider some of your processes and go lean. Managing information might not directly fall under HR, but I would highly recommend to sit with IT and other departments and make sure that the information is safe and secure and centralized. It's way more important today than it was before. And cybersecurity, guidelines coming from IT need to be transferred through HR to the team even more prevalently. And now, coming back to technology, a lot of organizations start by buying software, and that really does not solve any problem. There are plenty of software, but we have to first look back at process and people, and then come to technology, because there are a lot of tools, and today you're going to be introduced to two of them. And this list shows some of the most relevant technologies that you could use to make sure that you stay on top of the HR operation. Video conferencing and messaging, we're all using different tools. You're connected through one of those tools today. This tool specifically, Zoho Showtime, is fantastic for training when you want to do virtual trainings. Productivity and collaboration is very important. How do people work with each other while they're not next to each other? Are we still doing the email, the Word document back and forth 20 times, or are we really embracing cloud-based office apps like Zoho Writer? Are we still using WhatsApp, or are we embracing a more secure, more corporate-centric communication tool like Zoho Click? HRMS with solid self-service features is also very important. So you have to give more control to the staff to take care of their leaves, comp offs, time offs, access to policies and procedures, because they're not sitting next to you, or they're not one floor away from you anymore. They're most probably sitting at home. Learning management systems, invest in an LMS. Now is the perfect time to onboard everybody to digital way of education and continuous improvement. And of course, employee and compliance and health management software, either as a standalone package or as a complement to the systems you have, is quite important. And you have plenty of choices in the market. Of course, we are offering a long list of these as well, and you're more than welcome to have a look at those. To wrap up, coming back again to people. This needs to be our guiding principle because people matter the most. We need to help them. It doesn't matter where we are, which department we are, which industry we're at. We need to help our people to work safely. Peace of mind, physical safety, mental safety for them and their families. Thank you so much.